Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the co-feature at Saratoga on Wednesday. Race number 4, we're going a mile on the inner turf. This race for New York bred or sired 3-year-old fillies. It's the New York Stallion Series, and you can play this race and card at Saratoga with a DRF Bets account. Use the promo code HELLO and start punching away at the spa on Wednesday. Let's take a look at this field for race number 4, the New York Stallion Series. We've got several horses coming out of another edition of the New York Stallion Series back at Belmont on June the 23rd. That race was won by Kid Is Frosty. And Mike, I thought Kid Is Frosty got a really wise ride from Arad Ortiz that day. She broke sharply. She was up on the pace down inside of a big long shot. It could have been a situation where she could have gotten in tight. Irad let that horse go, got to the outside. Kid Is Frosty burst clear and had enough to left to hold up the closers.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that she, ran pretty well there, switching to turf for the first time. I hear what you're saying, too, because it felt like Irad had two choices there. The pace wasn't that fast, so he could have just went. He had the rail. He could have just went and took over. He elected to let that long shot go to get to the outside. It worked out fine for him. I thought this filly ran well in that race, Dan. I kind of want to see her do it again on the turf, but listen, maybe she can do it. Brad Cox wins a ton of races.
And she might have a pace scenario in her favor yet again as she tries 2 turns for the first time. Timeform US has the 5 Kid Is Frosty out there on the lead. I look at the pedigree, and I think the mile should be within her scope. She's by Frost Giant, out of a Lemon Drop Kid mare. You do have to wonder, though. You did correctly mention that the pace was slow last time out. This time there's a fast horse drawn directly to her inside, and that is the number 4, Subsidiary. Now, Subsidiary has won on synthetic. She has won on dirt. She has raced once on turf. She was in against some hard-hitting older horses that day at Gulfstream. That being said, I really thought she set an easy pace and didn't have much left in the lane. And I look at this pedigree, and I'm worried about the distance.
I am too. And, it's interesting because when you look at her on paper, I think she looks pretty good in this race. I don't know. When I went back and watched the turf race 2 back, I was not thrilled with her performance there. And, I know that she's in with New York Breds for the first time here. That could make a difference. And she does have speed, which I really like. I just do not like her turf race all that much.
The number 7, Nico's Dream, has won at this distance, cut back last time out, was up against it from a pace standpoint against Kid Is Frosty. She rode the rail under Junior Alvarado, came out with a look in the stretch. The leader just had too much of a tactical advantage, and Nico's Dream was unable to run her down. With more speed in the race, more distance, Nico's Dream is extremely logical, but she is a one-run closer dependent on pace, and if the pace doesn't materialize, she could be in trouble yet again, this time at a short price.
Yeah, right. Dynamics could really work against her in this race. I think you also have to at least, wonder how much more improvement you're going to get out of her. She ran well against Open Company 3 times over the winter down in Florida. She's come up here. I think she's run well in both of her races against New York Breds, but she's got a running style that just sort of leaves her vulnerable at a short price. And I wonder how much better she's going to get that. I think she's the horse to beat in here, but I'm not that afraid to take a shot against her.
There are some folks that are going to say the 3 Rossellini is a little too cheap and a little too slow. She won a maiden claiming race 2 starts back. Her buyers are light. I didn't think she ran that badly last time out against open starter allowances. That was a race where the horse that finished first went gate to wire on a really slow pace. Rossellini was last, came widest into the stretch, and I looked like she was really trying before she flattened out the final 16th of a mile. I think she can be a bit closer to the pace, but you got to run faster.
Yeah, that's the real problem with her. I actually think she's improving from race to race. I do think she's getting better, but she has to get a lot better, it feels like, to beat this field.
We have a couple of maidens in here. The 2 Sterling Beauty seems the more accomplished of the maidens. She was 3rd to Nico's Dream 2 starts back. Last time out, I just really couldn't find an excuse. It looked like she a bit on the turn, started picking up some horses a little bit at the end of that 7 furlong race. Maybe this extra distance helps, but she's, these horses have handled her already.
Yeah, they have. I thought her first 2 turf starts were pretty good. I didn't think she ran quite as well last time when they tried tougher horses, and now she's just sort of facing the same field over again, and you just have to wonder where's the improvement coming from because she needs to improve.
And Dancing Slippers is going to be the longest shot on the board. She is yet to be single-digit odds in maiden races in her career. She's yet to hit the board in 7 starts. It's hard to make her
Yeah, I don't see any reason to take a shot with her in this race.
Let's take a look at our top selections for race number 4 at Saratoga on Wednesday, the New York Stallion Series. You like the 6 Bangle Gal from Michael Stidham. Now, a lot of folks are just going to look at the form and say she's a dirt horse. She won her last 2 races on dirt. She's never been off the board on the dirt. They're going to take a look at that one turf race and say she's not as good. And I think that would be a very foolish thing to do, because when you watch that race again, she encountered some trouble.
Yeah, she really did have real trouble in the stretch of the race. Now, that doesn't mean that she's not better on dirt. She might be better on dirt. She's certainly improved in her last 2 starts, both of them wins. But when you go back to that turf race, as you say, I mean, it just didn't really work out for her in tight in the stretch. She actually had Sterling Beauty, who's back in this race, right to her outside, keeping her locked in the stretch, and they were bumping off each other. This filly could not get clear to run in there. I'm not suggesting she was going to win that race, but I think she ran better than it looks. And listen, maybe the recent improvement doesn't have anything to do with dirt. Maybe she's just getting better. There's a little turf pedigree here for her. I want to take a shot with her against the favorite.
I think the race flow will work in her favor as well. I agree with Timeform US that the 4 and 5 will be on the lead. At the 6 might be sitting a very good trip in third, getting the jump on the true closers, horses like Nico's Dream in the lane. So you're going with the number 6 Bangle Gal in here. I don't really love this race. I think Kid is Frosty is going to be in front when the field turns into the stretch. I don't think against this group that's a bad place to be. Unfortunately, she was 6-1 last time out. She's not going to be this price in here. I'm curious to see if the improvement last time out was simply just because of the way the race dynamics worked, or whether she's a better horse on the turf. She is out of a Lemon Drop Kid mare after all. I went 5-7-4. You're going 6 and?
I went 6-7-5.
Good race. The New York Stallion Series, race number 4, one of 2 stakes races to open up the week at Saratoga. Get involved with your DRF Bets account by using the promo code HELLO. Approximate post time for the New York Stallion Series, 2:48 Eastern. Good luck.